Hey guys, welcome back to another Peaceful Challenge episode. Today we're going to continue our 1.17 journey and make a new farm for one of the new items. And today I thought it would be good to make a pointed dripstone farm. So we got 11 pointed dripstone we collected in randomly generated caves and 59 of those dripstone blocks. The pointed dripstone itself is kind of useful if you got 4 of them, I believe. You can actually check it out with a crafting table. You can craft more of the dripstone blocks, which is, guess at that point, just a decoration block. But the pointed dripstone itself is also useful. You can use it to make a lava farm, and then in turn that lava into obsidian, which especially for peaceful mode is interesting, because we couldn't use bartering to get a lot of obsidian. So I think, yeah, using this pointed dripstone to make lava and then obsidian might be a good choice. So we need 1 pointed dripstone for every cauldron we want to fill with lava. So basically put a lava source 2 blocks above the pointed dripstone, have a block in between, then the pointed dripstone starts dripping lava, and if you put a cauldron below, it would catch that and be filled up. Alright. Let's quickly head to creative, because I need to figure out how to make a farm. Remember when the snapshot came out when this feature, farming pointed dripstone, was first introduced? I made a quick farm out of it, but I don't have the best memory and already forgot most of it again. Alright, let's go. Let's figure this out together. As far as I can remember, it was actually important that we attach the dripstone on the underside of a pointed dripstone block. Otherwise, the dripstone wouldn't grow. This is kind of different to a lava farm, by the way. So if you have a lava source on top of the block here, it would still fill up the cauldron. So you can see the dripstone has some lava particles dripping down. Okay, so let's actually test this out. Here we got a normal concrete block. I'm pretty sure this won't grow. Set the random tick speed a lot higher. As you can see, the cauldron fills up, but this one here won't grow. So we always need those dripstone blocks, which you can craft here by getting the pointed dripstone. Oh, I totally forgot about that one. They would also form stalagmites if the floor is not too far away. So this also increases the efficiency for the farm if you harvest the top part and the bottom part. That might be more efficient in the long run, just to make the farm a little bit larger and don't have the more complicated bottom part. We'll see about that. Then there's another theory I want to test. I think if the random tick selects any of the pointed dripstone blocks, it would grow down. So what I mean is, farm would be more efficient if you have a really long stalactite already, and then just harvest the next block that would grow always, compared to just having a single one and then harvest if the next one grows. We can probably easily test it to verify this. So I made 3 testing setups: short stalactites, maximum length, and medium-sized ones, and the numbers are pretty similar. So the difference can definitely be explained with fluctuation. We got 1064 for the short ones, 1091 for the long ones, and 1038 for the medium-sized ones. So that's all within normal fluctuation, I'd say. I would have expected, if there's really an advantage having longer ones, that it would be multiple times faster. Alright, then next topic is, should we go for stalactites plus stalagmites? Let's try to make a simple setup for that. So there we go. We also got the stalagmite version. Works quite similar to the stalactite one. Detect the pointed dripstone growing, and then it actually changes its block state. So you can see here on the right, thickness would change if it grows. That's what we can detect, and then break the block below. Same the ones down here, the thickness would also increase if the stalagmites grow, and then we just break the top. Okay, so this is basically just twice as fast as this design here. We only break the stalactites, but the downside is that the item collection isn't as great. So while I was watching it, sometimes it happened that some of the items would land here on top of the other blocks and were basically lost, especially if they fell here in between. And it's also not really that cheaper. So in the beginning, it's probably going to be helpful to build such a version, because the limiting factor is the amount of dripstone blocks and pointed dripstone we have, but later not so much. And I would definitely prefer to build this one instead, or actually the short version, just with water stream instead of hopper below, and then yeah, mirror it, basically have it on the same on the other side as well. Just have it like this. This should be the best approach, and then a water stream here at the bottom. And then we don't need to deal with any items that might get lost, etc. So yeah, let's start with this one here, and then later, once we expand the farm, switch to the other design. Oh, there's one more thing we need to talk about. How fast are those farms even? So if you look at this 10 block version here, we're getting almost 3 items per hour. So this is gonna take a very long time to get anywhere, I feel like. And we are back in survival. I was thinking, where do we build the new Dripstone farm? And came to the conclusion it would probably make a lot of sense if we build it right next to the Amethyst shard farm, since that one requires a lot of AFK time anyway. So we always got a bot standing here in order to get a couple of stacks of items per day. It's not too crazy. And then we might as well build the other slow farm right next to it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna flatten this out a little bit. I brought over some white concrete, so we got a nice foundation, and then we can start building the farm. Alright, the first module has been set up. I placed down all of our 11 dripstone, and now I just have to play the waiting game. I also forgot to bring hoppers, so I have to go back and get those. And I was thinking, instead of just waiting until we get more pointed dripstone, we could also go out mining, get more copper ore, and also mine all the dripstone blocks and pointed dripstone we come across in order to speed this up a little bit. Alright, we're back from a mining trip. I've been live streaming the whole thing. We were out mining for 90 minutes in total. Miles was also mining. We had a little competition to see who can bring home the most copper ore, and I lost big time. So let's check out what I got. I got those 3 shulker boxes here. We got mostly random stone, some dripstone blocks and pointed dripstone, and here are all the ores that I brought home. 4 stacks of copper ore, which is pretty okay, and some of the other ores as well. Deep slate emerald ore, it's pretty neat. This could be one of the rarest blocks in the game. And you might only be able to get it in 1.17. In 1.18 with the changed terrain generation, emerald ore would generate above deep slate as far as I know. So you might not be able to get this anymore later versions. So we definitely won't turn this, but we definitely won't put this into a furnace. That's for sure. Okay. Then let's check out what Mice got. Yeah, over 7.5 stacks of copper ore. No chance here. More pointed dripstone and dripstone blocks. And some of the other ores. Actually, a ton of gold ore as well. Pretty good. Alright, then yeah, let's also check out the farm that I have expanded. Yesterday evening, I added a pointed dripstone to all the dripstone blocks here and built a second slice as well. And this farm has been running for about 12 hours overnight. That's what we got, a bit over 8 stacks of pointed dripstone. Yeah, it's really slow. 1.17 is kind of the slow farm update. If you look at the amethyst shards, pointed dripstone, and we haven't even started with the powder snow, which takes about 24 hours to fill a cauldron on average. Okay, so I think I'm gonna expand this farming setup by 2 more of those slices. And then we have to look into alternatives. I think this was okay to get started, but it's kind of expensive farm concept. So we got 1 observer and 1 piston and even 1 node block here for just a single pointed dripstone. It's definitely a lot cheaper to have like a big platform of dripstone and just run a flying machine across to collect them all. We might have even been better if we started with this, but yeah, now we got this setup here, which is relatively simple and is also easy to expand. But later we're gonna look into some alternatives to make a more efficient farm. Kinda like it with the slow farms, you have to actually put in a lot of effort, and it's quite challenging to get a good output. So I added 1 more slice, and we ran this an extra 24 hours, so let's check out what we got so far. That's almost 40 stacks. Okay, that's gonna help a little bit, but we'll probably need a lot more to build the more efficient farm that I have in mind. We already have that in creative, we can check that out soon, but I want to show you the tunnel that Miles and a Spec made. We had a huge portal, which is great, because that kind of prevented me from building a 4th slice here. Anyway, so let's check the tunnel because that one is really good. There we go. So this is the tunnel leading up to this area. Really like how they used some of the new blocks, the amethyst blocks here, deep slate. I'm actually not sure anymore how you make all of those variants of deep slate. There's so many of them. Yeah, deep slate emerald ore. This is the new smooth basalt. Also, I really like the purple stripe here at the top. It's so nice. Also, if you travel with boat, of course. One of the better tunnels. It's actually here the backside of the portal leads to the peaceful perimeter. Okay, but now let's head over to creative. Spend some time deciding a more efficient dripstone farm. It's definitely interesting to stand in here and just listen to all the dripping. Okay, so this is the new and more efficient farming setup. It's gonna involve a flying machine. So instead of having a piston and an observer for each individual dripstone, just gonna have this tiny double flying machine here that will harvest everything. Also, the farm is gonna be more efficient because we're also gonna farm the stalagmites at the bottom again. And the setup is really simple. So we're just gonna put a daylight sensor down here at the end. There we go. This would launch every 20 minutes and harvest the full length of the farm. Pretty cheap. Actually gonna use slime, which you got from all the pandas. Don't need to use honey here. It's just a smaller flying machine, so we have that. So we got flying machine at the top and bottom. There's some items remaining behind right now. They will be picked up on the way back. So this whole setup in creative is now 140 blocks long. But the longer we make it, the more efficient we get, or cheaper, since we always just need the one flying machine. So maybe we're gonna make it 200 or even 250 blocks long in survival. It's gonna be still quite expensive to get all of those dripstone blocks at the top. So this setup alone would already be about 3,000 of those dripstone blocks. It means we would need 12,000 of the pointed dripstone. It's quite expensive, but at least, once we have such a farm, it would also be a bit faster in terms of dripstone per hour. We would get, if there's 140 long and 20 wide version, we would get roughly a chest per hour. And I mean that's kind of enough. So with this setup here, I think we're good on dripstone. It's also not too much effort. What you see here at the bottom, we're using moss. We could also use melons to have a block that doesn't stick to the slime, but the dripstone can also grow on. Okay, as you can see here, everything is nicely swept to the side. At the end, we just have a water stream and a little bit of redstone because the flying machine return. It's really simple stuff. That's we're gonna try to do next. But it's good that we built the other farm first, just to have a good source of the dripstone blocks for now. We just have one smaller issue right now. We don't have so many moss blocks at the moment. What we could do instead is just placing down stone instead, and then place down one moss block next to it and bone meal it until everything is converted. Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go here. So I wanted to start building the new farm, and we came across the one in Crater. It's invisible right now because it's nighttime, but we finally found one that has a small drip leaf. So I'm actually gonna keep this inventory open. I hope it doesn't despawn us, and Process is gonna run real quick and fetch us an emerald so we can get those items. Alright, Process made it in time. We got some of the small drip leaf during a live stream where we also built up the farm here. Took us about 2.5 hours to build this, and it's not completely finished because we were running out of dripstone blocks, of course. We didn't have enough, or nearly enough. Okay, so let's check it out. It's about 250 blocks long. It was actually quite easy to get all the moss here. So we just basically dug down and then converted all the dirt and stone we already had here into moss, so the slime blocks wouldn't stick to this. Okay, so we've already farmed quite a bit of the dripstone, has been running overnight. Let's see how much we actually got. And one nice thing the process did was to put some azalea in here. So those are the azalea bushes. because slime also doesn't stick to those, and everybody that helped building this farm is also now mentioned in form of azalea bushes here. Okay. We also kept the old farm and hooked up the water stream to the new dripstone storage over here. So here's where it's all merging. Oops. And we can check out what we got so far overnight. So we got one double chest, more here, second double chest, couple more. So probably almost 3 double chests of pointed dripstone, which is still not enough to craft the rest of the blocks and attach pointed dripstone to it. But let's see how much we can get out of this. Alright, we kept grinding, and now the farm is fully built up. We got roughly 5,000 dripstone, producing more dripstone. It's just a waiting game now. So we get roughly 3,000 dripstone power. If you keep AFKing here for another 3 days, all of those chests will be filled up. So at the moment, it's not a lot here right now, because we placed it all down. So this was the harvest from one 20-minute run. The daylight sensor turns this on every 20 minutes, and yeah, 1 hour would be one double chest roughly. So we even get more than 3,000. We have to see about that. Alright, so next project I want to work on is the glow squid farm. Last episode we already looked into the possibility to use the existing squid farm to use as a glow squid farm as well, but we had issues with the axolotls taking out the mod cap and not getting killed by the fall damage. But we might be able to use the dripstone as well to solve our issues there. So here we have the squid farm we're using on peaceful and creative mode. You can see there is glow squid spawning and axolotl spawning. You can enable and disable that by placing blocks above. So in order for the condition for glow squid to spawn is dependent on the height map. If there's a non-air block above water, then it will spawn glow squid as well. So you can actually make a farm where you can turn that on and off. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, let's talk about the killing system. So we had the issue that the axolotl mobs were surviving the fall. That's why I lowered the killing platform by 7 blocks. In this way they get reliably killed by fall damage. But we could also raise the whole floor and maybe use dripstone instead, because mobs landing on dripstone take a lot more damage. But then we have issues with the item collection. It's quite unfortunate that we can't place the dripstone on top of the hoppers. That is a bit of an issue. Could technically place soul sand there, and then some items would land on top of that and get collected by the hoppers. There's also the possibility they would land on top of the dripstone as well. And then we wouldn't be able to pick it up. So maybe we can use dripstone in combination with hopper minecarts instead, but I'm also not quite sure how that would work. I was thinking if there's maybe a nice solution or an obvious solution how we could use dripstone, but it seems like it's not really that useful for mob farming, because there's a lot of issues with the item collection. So first I thought we could maybe flush water every couple minutes to get rid of the additional items that would land on top of the dripstone, but that wouldn't work because the items, or the collision box of the items isn't tall enough. So the dripstone collision hitbox is 11 pixels, and the item hitbox would be 4, so we got 15 pixels out of 16. Would need to be 2 pixels taller. So an item landing here doesn't reach to the next block even. Okay, that's why we couldn't flush it away. We also couldn't use a flying machine to fly over this. We also can't just have a piston like pushing it to the side. All of this wouldn't work. It's really a bit annoying. What obviously would work would be to use a lot of hopper minecarts to deal with this. So you can always just have like a a top trapdoor and put dripstone on top of that. Before I can even place the hopper minecart here. So place the trapdoor on top of that, and then obviously everything would be collected, even items would land on top of the dripstone. But already in case of our small squid farm, we would need hundreds of hopper minecarts to cover the whole area. We could use stacked minecarts, make some kind of complicated contraption to push them below, but it's a bit too much effort. So it's way easier if you just lower the whole farm by a couple blocks, and have the normal killing floor again. Okay, would definitely a bit more efficient if we could use the dripstone, because this would reduce the falling time of the mobs, and then you can kill them quicker, would be a bit more efficient. But we're getting more than enough items already. So we made the necessary adjustments, and this is looking pretty convincing. So we're getting tons of mobs now. Yeah, actually looking really good. Okay, so we lowered the whole killing floor just by 8 blocks. That's all we needed. And what I also did is I did not put a block here on top of the bubble elevator to prevent any glow squid and axolotl spawning in the bubble column here. So the items now shoot up a little bit. That's why we got the extra blocks here on the side, and then they would fall down and get flushed to the side. Okay, this is basically a way to deal with this issue. And then we added item filters. So one for the normal squid ink, and here you get the glow squid ink. And just after yeah, 2 or 3 minutes, we already got this much. Okay, farm works pretty well. I think I'm gonna AFK it for a couple hours as well. And then we should be good forever. I mean, how many of those glow squid ink sacks do you really need? Just for the item frames and for the signs. So we will be good with this type of farm here. Don't need anything bigger or whatever. So it's time to end the episode. I want to check again the progress on the Dripstone farm. So 1 additional day has passed, which gives us enough time to fill up more of those double chests here. And it really looks like the farm is large enough to supply us enough of that stuff. The brown gold, of course. Okay, we can even use the dripstone block now as a decoration block for any building projects. So we're pretty good on this. Okay, so since 1 additional day has passed, I also had some time to think about the killing system of the squid farm again, and how I could utilize the dripstone without using too many hopper minecarts. So I think I can do it with like 12, 13 or 14 maybe. But we're gonna check that out at the beginning of the next episode. I'm quite hopeful that the idea would work, but I'm not sure if I wanna adjust it in survival. Just something that has been bothering me. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks guys for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.